what these agents are telling these young people, yeah, I can get you $200,000, but I'll keep 20%. And what a young person is saying is, okay, well, 80% of $200,000 is more than what I'm getting now. So I'm in. I don't really care what I got to give you. I'm still getting. And that is an incorrect and naive way to look at it. And that is where I would prefer Jay Norvell to stop ranting at the media and start talking to his players. This should be a responsibility of coaching staffs all over America right now. And if not specifically the coaching staffs, some arm of the athletic department. You now have an athletic department filled of young people making real money, and they don't know what to do with it. They don't come from money in many cases. They're not educated enough to deal with these types of contracts. And I say that as somebody who, if I'd have been the exact same age in their position, I would not have been equipped to deal with these contracts either. I'm 47 years old, college educated. I don't look at any of my contracts. I can't tell you the last time I read one of my contracts. I have an agent who does that. I pay him. He handles that. Everything is done that way. You want to know why? Because even as a 47-year-old, well-read, college-educated man, I know I'm not equipped to handle this stuff. So why would we expect 19 and 20-year-old and 21-year-olds to do it? That's why your job as an athletic department, they'll spend all the money in the world trying to get their muscles big as they can, trying to get to 40 speeds fast as they can get them. All right? But will you spend money investing in trying to make these young people who are coming into real money, life-changing money in some cases, financially literate? Why don't you bring in people and explain to them why you should never sign a contract with somebody going to try to take 10%, 15%, 20% from you? That's not the contract I signed. It's not the contract any of the Memphis Grizzlies signed. That is an absurd percentage to be giving away. So why not bring experts in, sit them down with your football players, and make them understand if somebody reaches out to you and says they can get you any amount of money, but they want 20%, just hit delete. That's not a real person you should be involved with. Hit them back and say, I'll give you 3%. And if they try to fight with you, hit delete. You should never sign a contract like that. If you do, you're making a mistake. Make them understand that. All right? Because ranting about people approaching your young, suddenly in money, in the world of money athletes, being upset about people approaching them doesn't do any good. Because it's not just street agents and other football programs who approach young people who are worth something. You know who else does it every day? Credit card companies. There isn't a day that goes, I'm exaggerating, but like, I can't tell you how many times my oldest son would be in high school and a application for Discover or Visa or whatever would just show up. They're just giving him a credit card. He doesn't need a credit card. Now, but this happens every day in America. You're 18 years old, you're making $4 a year,
right?
And they're sending you credit cards. And then you're swiping it. Now you got $3,000 on a credit card, which is nothing for a person maybe in a different aspect of life. But when you're young, that $3,000 might overwhelm you.
Yeah.
Now you're paying interest. Now you're doing it. Now it's the American way. Rather than say, I wish these agents wouldn't be approaching our kids, why don't you stop calling them kids, call them young adults, treat them that way, and teach them. You don't need this credit card right now with its 24% interest rate, all right? That's going to cost you money in the long run. Why don't we just live within our means, leave that over here. If somebody reaches out to you and says they want 20% of your NIL, tell them no. Hang up, because that's a bad deal. No good agent will ever ask you to pay 20%. If you didn't know that before, I understand you didn't know nothing. But I'm trying to teach you. That's why we're here, right? Educate, and then let the adults make the decisions. Oh, here's some other piece of advice. If some random person gets into your DMs and says, hey, if you get into the transfer portal, I can get you $200,000, then you know what you should do? And I don't want you to do it because I'm your coach here at Colorado State, and I don't want you to do this. But if I'm being your mentor, here's what you should do. Get in the transfer portal. Leave this guy out of it. What do you need this guy for? Get in the transfer portal, jump on Twitter, and say, I'm in the transfer portal. If any coaches would like to talk to me about NIL opportunities, here's my email address. And let them come to you. You don't need this guy. So if he's telling the truth, you can go get the $200,000 without him. And if he's not telling the truth, then you didn't want to be involved with him anyway. Stop complaining and start educating. We get one of these football or basketball coaches doing a press conference like this every 2 weeks, all mad at the world, all mad at young people for doing a lot of the same stuff they've done throughout their careers. I'm never going to get mad at somebody for taking more money in what they perceive as a better opportunity. If you're a football coach or basketball coach or anybody operating in this world now, stop complaining about it because it's not changing and start educating. If you really care about these young people the way you say you do, start educating them. Make them smarter, make them more intelligent in how they deal with these situations. But don't just keep hoping that the situations are going to go away. They're not. Learn to deal with them. And there's a better way than just ranting for 2 minutes at a press conference.
The Gary Parrish Show, live weekdays at 10 a.m.